Ben Simmons was once supposed to be the future of the NBA, a #1 overall pick, a multiple-time All-Star, a player teams genuinely worried about preparing for. But now, Ben Simmons has paused his NBA return and is competing in professional sport fishing. In this video, we're breaking down how Ben Simmons went from a franchise cornerstone to stepping away from the league, what actually led to this moment, and whether his NBA career may already be over. When Ben Simmons entered the NBA, the hype wasn't exaggerated, it was earned. From the start, he didn't look like a normal prospect. At 6 feet 10 inches, Simmons handled the ball like a guard, saw the floor like a point guard, and defended like a forward. He could grab a rebound, push the pace himself, and create advantages before the defense even got set. At his peak, multiple All-Star appearances, one of the most versatile defenders in the league, a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate, a player who could control games without scoring. For a stretch, Ben Simmons was considered untouchable in trade talks. Teams didn't want to fix him, they wanted to build around him. Yes, the jump shot was always the conversation. It was impossible to ignore. But the belief was simple. He impacted winning in too many other ways for it to matter. And for a while, that belief held up. When we talk about Ben Simmons, it's easy to frame his career as a disappointment. But the reality is more complicated. Ben Simmons didn't just make the NBA, he succeeded in it. He became an All-Star. He was one of the best defenders in the league. He played a central role on playoff teams. Most players never reach that level. The problem is that Ben Simmons wasn't measured against the average NBA career. He was measured against expectations of superstardom. When you're a #1 pick, good isn't good enough. Impactful isn't enough. Anything short of dominance feels like failure. And that gap between what he was and what people expected is where the disappointment lives. Career-wise, Simmons sits in a strange space. He wasn't a bust. He wasn't a role player. But he also never became the player people projected him to be. In another era, his resume might look impressive. In this era, it feels unfinished. And that's the hardest part. Then came the playoffs. One moment didn't just hurt Ben Simmons' reputation, it reshaped it. The passed-up dunk became more than a missed opportunity, it became a symbol. Suddenly, the hesitation mattered more than the defense. The confidence mattered more than the playmaking. You could see it happening in real time. The hesitation creeping in, the aggression fading, the decisions getting slower. From that point on, the narrative locked in. Every possession was analyzed. Every missed free throw went viral. Every quiet offensive night became confirmation that something was wrong. Basketball stopped being basketball. It became pressure, fear of messing up, fear of being the reason your team lost. And once confidence cracks at that level, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild. Instead of bouncing back, things started piling up. Trade rumors dominated headlines. Criticism turned personal. Mental health became part of the conversation, and injuries began showing up at the worst possible time. Then came the back issues. The kind that don't just limit performance, but change how you trust your own body. A fresh start was supposed to help, but by the time Ben Simmons arrived in Brooklyn, expectations had already changed. It wasn't, can he be a superstar? It became, can he stay healthy? Can he stay aggressive? Can he stay on the floor? That's a massive shift for someone once viewed as a franchise leader. Every return felt temporary. Every setback reinforced doubt. The margin for error disappeared. This is the part that's easy to overlook. Ben Simmons hasn't just been dealing with criticism. He's been dealing with physical pain and mental pressure at the same time. Chronic back issues affect confidence. Rehab setbacks drain motivation, and constant public doubt follows you everywhere. Every comeback attempt felt like a test. If he struggled, people said, "See, we knew it." If he played well, it was brushed off as not enough. There was no winning. And when the game you once loved starts to feel like something you fear, everything changes. That environment breaks players, especially ones who already feel exposed. Which brings us to now. Ben Simmons has reportedly paused his NBA return and is competing in professional sport fishing. At first, it sounds ridiculous. almost like a headline meant for clicks. NBA star to fishing tournaments? But when you actually think about it, it makes sense. Fishing offers control, peace, competition without constant judgment, a space where failure isn't televised. There's no crowd waiting to boo, no social media dissecting every move, no debate shows piling on. For the first time in years, Ben Simmons gets to compete on his own terms, and that matters more than people realize. This isn't about quitting basketball. It's about stepping away from the noise. So the big question is obvious. Is Ben Simmons' NBA career over? Honest, but not officially. But the truth is harsh. The NBA doesn't wait. Teams move on quickly, and reputations stick. If Ben Simmons wants another real opportunity, it won't be easy. He'll need full health, real confidence, and a genuine commitment to the grind. Not to the money, not to the spotlight, but to the work. And that's a tough road back in a league that's younger, faster, and less patient every season. Right now, the NBA has already moved forward. This story isn't just about basketball. It's about pressure, expectations, and how fast things can change. Ben Simmons didn't lose his talent overnight. That was never the issue. But confidence is fragile. And once it cracks, everything becomes harder to rebuild. Stepping away doesn't mean failure, but it does mean time is running out. One part of Ben Simmons' story that doesn't get talked about enough is how quickly the NBA ecosystem turns on players once a narrative sticks. Once Ben Simmons was labeled as afraid to shoot, everything he did was filtered through that lens. If you passed the ball, it wasn't called playmaking. It was called hesitation. If he played great defense, it was ignored. If he struggled for even a few minutes, it became proof that nothing had changed. In today's NBA, perception spreads faster than performance. Social media clips get more attention than full games. Sound bites matter more than context. And once fans decide who you are, it's incredibly hard to change their minds. For Ben Simmons, that meant every comeback attempt came with impossible expectations. He wasn't allowed to be rusty. He wasn't allowed to be working his way back. He had to be perfect, or he was a failure. And for a player already dealing with injuries and confidence issues, that pressure only made things worse. This isn't an excuse, but it is part of the reality. Ben Simmons' career isn't officially over, but this chapter tells us a lot. The player once expected to dominate the NBA is still searching for peace, clarity, and direction. And whether he ever returns to the league or not, his story will always be one of the most fascinating what-ifs in modern basketball.